Joe, are you available right now?
Yes.
Okay. So today I will speak about Chinese and American idioms and figures of speech. This way. So, very beginning, would you like to also talk about your plan and your... okay, introduce yourself, please, first. Are you available right now?
Oh, sure. Yes. So, my name is Joe Martin.
Okay.
And I'm a former software engineer, marketer, business analyst, and I've worked quite a bit with Fortune 500 companies for 15 years. And I had also worked with defense industry, Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics. And these days, I try to help people in China get a better understanding of the English language.
Okay, great. And let me also introduce myself. My name is Lyu Guo. I am the founder of Suntrans. In the past 20 decades, I also involved in translation and some scientific research, and also worked for government. In the past 10 years, I full-time worked for Suntrans, and especially we have Chinese mining and petroleum companies to purchase mines and oil fields in different countries. And recently, we also provide some English training and some trainings in geology and mining. And today, we will also deliver one speech. Okay, so let's move to the first today's topic, idioms in business. Okay, John, would you like to talk about your plan about? Okay, let me adjust something because some information, a lot of noise, background, some noise. Let me check. Okay. A little bit noisy, maybe just... Okay, it will soon disappear. No wonder.
Let me know when you're ready.
Let me close my WeChat. Otherwise, pop out a lot of information, so that very noisy. Okay, a few seconds. Okay, it's almost okay. Okay, you can continue to talk about your plan about how to teach other people conversational English and okay.
Okay, great. So, conversational English, you and I have talked about it in the past, the importance of understanding how to express yourself. And, of course, we express ourselves in our native language very easily. It's natural. When trying to express ourselves in a second language, we tend to approach it very awkwardly. We learn a lot of vocabulary, we learn a lot of grammar, but the one thing that we don't learn enough is how to actually speak it and how to use it to convey what we want to say and understand what we're hearing. So, in the exercise today, the lesson today, we're going to look at idioms in the English language in several different topics: business, health, relationships. So in each one, I chose 3 examples. And in each example, I will explain why it's used, what context the idiom is used in. and I will give you an example. But also, listen to how I'm saying the sentences, because much of the English language is about the way you say it. Cannot, think of if someone said, Joe, or if they asked me, what is your name? If I said, my name is Joe, well, I answered the question.
Okay.
But I sound like the most boring person in the world. So it's important to be able to not just talk, but to be able to express. And we'll do that today with these idioms.
Okay. May I ask one question? What's the differences? Would you like to tell me the differences among the several words, like sayings or idioms and slangs? What's the differences? Can you explain them to us?
Some of them are, for example, an idiom is very similar to the word, a saying. In English, we use that interchangeably. If someone says to you, tell me some English sayings.
Or proverbs.
Yeah, they're asking you to tell them some idioms. They're just used interchangeably. Figures of speech overlap. Some figures of speech are very similar to idioms. Others, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. It's funny. I probably say 200 of them in one day.
Okay.
And then when it's time to come up with an example, I draw a blank. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I draw a blank.
Yeah.
Meaning I can't think of an example. My head is empty. But think of it this way: figures of speech, sayings, idioms, they're all just expressions, ways in which you can express yourself, where the words that you're saying have a meaning that's different than the literal meaning.
Okay.
In fact, you'll see shortly when we go over some of these idioms. You don't want to get confused by the literal meaning, because they are two different things. That figure of speech is just the non-literal meaning. We use it in a different way. In Chinese, there's probably many similar situations.
Yes, I agree with you.
Taken literally. So the best thing to do is to go into some of these idioms and see how they work.
Okay.
So that first idiom, bait and switch.
Yes.
You may have heard this before, but bait and switch is usually considered negative, meaning it's not a good thing.
Okay.
It is usually used to describe the behavior of a company or of a service, or it might be a manufacturer, might be a restaurant, and the idea is they promise you something, but what they deliver is not what they promise.
Okay.
So we say they baited you like a fish. They gave you hanging the worm for fish. And they got you to come into their business and buy a product or buy a service. But then, when you arrive, they want to sell you something different. And this, in the U.S., this happens often in automobile sales. The company will advertise a car.
Okay.
And they will say, we have this beautiful blue car, this Ford Mustang, and it's available for $20,000. Then you arrive, and they say, sorry, we don't have a blue Mustang.
Okay.
We have a black Mustang, and it costs $25,000.
Wow.
That is a bait and switch. They want you to come in so that then they can change the service, change the product, and sell you something else. And as you can imagine, it's very upsetting.
Okay.
People don't like this. So when you use it in a sentence, you might say, oh, that salesman at the car dealership
Okay.
pulled a bait and switch on me. Meaning they didn't give me what they promised that they were going to give me when I called them on the phone.
Okay.
So very, very, it's used in a very negative way, never positive.
In some degree, we can say it's a process. Sounds like fishing. We use bait to attract fish, come here and then capture them.
Yes. So you attract the fish with the juicy worm, and when they get there, you go, sorry, no worm.
While here we use switch. Switch, the word means change his mind or actually not the real originally meaning.
Well, switch is because once you get there, what was promised is not what they give you. They switched.
Okay.
They said, it's like saying, hey, Dr. Liu, I have some vanilla ice cream. Would you like to come over my house? And then you come over my house and I say, oh, I didn't have vanilla. I have chocolate.
Okay.
I just did a bait and switch.
So maybe I can explain the saying or the word the expression to our audience a little bit in Chinese. 刚才呢 John 呢给大家介绍了这一个习语叫 bait and switch。bait 呢指的是引诱，就比如我们钓鱼的时候，它作为名词呢表示这个鱼饵，那做动词呢表示引诱。它这个演化出来 switch 呢是表示开关啊、转换啊这个词 switch off， 比如关灯 switch off the lights， 把这个灯都关了，相当于 turn off the lights。那么这个 bait and switch， 它原来指的是引诱一个客户上圈套，来从而付高价来不买这个值钱的东西。switch 呢就是很快用一样东西来代替另外一样东西，比如一开始说承诺，哎，你来这儿我给你送一个钻石，真正到了之后呢，他不送那个大的了，他只送一个很小，不送那个，他实际上给你另外一个价格很高的一个物商品让你来购买。整个这个过程呢，在我们用作 bait and switch 来表示。Okay, so let's move to the next one, or you will continue to this one.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we can move to the next one.
Okay, next one. Let's say the second, cash cow. Okay.
Yes, cash cow.
Okay. For most of the Chinese people, maybe cash, we know currency, money. A cow means animal at home. So cash cow, not cash flow. Cash flow, we know cash flow. But here is cash cow. Can you tell us the meaning?
Well, so cash cow, of course, in every company, you have a best-selling product or service, something that outsells everything, and it's very reliable.
Okay.
For example, with Apple, they have the iPhone.
Yes.
And iPhone, it sells itself. They don't even have to try to sell it. It does so well, and it generates so much revenue that for Apple, it is a cash cow, meaning a reliable product that sells regularly and generates a lot of income for the company. The other thing about a cash cow is when you want to do a new project. Let's say Apple wants to come out with a new product. The cash cow product will help the company fund the new development. Because
Okay.
the iPhone generates so much income.
Okay.
That Apple can take some of that income and use it to develop new products. So companies love a cash cow.
Okay.
And even Suntrans. Suntrans may have a product or service
Yeah.
that is the most reliable, best product or service that you have. And
Yes.
that would be your cash cow.
Yeah, I see. But why people don't say cash cattle or cash horse? No one say cash horse?
Cash cow. Well, think about a cow. It's fat.
Okay,
So
it's
a
fat.
lot. And a cow provides milk.
Okay.
So you have regular, when you need milk, go to the cow.
Yeah.
So cash cow is a source for regular resources.
Okay, let me explain the word to our audience in Chinese. 刚才我们讲了 cash cow，cash 在咱们中文中呢指的是现金 ，cow 指的是牛。那刚才我也问了 John， 为什么不说 cash horse？为什么就不是这现金牛？它指的是金牛或者是摇钱树，那它指的是盈利部门。这个词呢是容易理解的。I remember there is a cow statue on the Wall Street. Do you remember the Wall Street in New York?
A bull.
A bull, yes, a bull. Also,
That's different.
oh, that's different. Can you tell us what's the difference?
The bull in Wall Street represents a bull market.
Bull market,
And that is,
a bear barn market, and a bull market.
well, a bull market is an investment term, meaning a very strong market.
Very strong market.
Bull.
Okay. Can you tell us the three words, the differences? One is cow, the other is bull, and cattle, and ox. The four words. What's the differences?
So cow is the females.
Is a female. Okay.
The bulls are the males.
Okay.
Which that's the primary difference. Of course, the cows produce milk. The
Yeah.
bull doesn't.
Okay.
And then cattle is just a general English term for all cows and bulls and steer. It's cattle.
Okay.
But many English-speaking people that are not from a ranch, they don't understand the language of people who raise cattle.
Yeah.
They will use the word cow to mean everything.
Yeah.
Cow, they use it as if it's male or female.
Okay.
So, it's incorrect, but people who don't raise cattle for a living, that's the way they use it.
Okay.
But technically it's steer and cow.
Okay. And what's the ox? Oxford, Oxbridge, Oxford, ox.
Oxford?
Yeah.
What about Oxford?
I mean, another that also means cow. Oxford, ox, ox.
Oh, ox.
Yeah, ox.
They're different. They're each. You have oxen, steer, like yak, new. They're all different animals.
Okay.
But they're each one usually serves a particular function. Like a ox, usually an ox will be used or used to be used in farming. for pulling a plow. But you would not use a cow for that. A cow would be strictly for milk and meat.
Okay.
So different purposes and different animals.
Okay. So I can explain that in Chinese, and you can prepare a dog and pony show. Let me continue to explain cash cow in Chinese. OK. 刚才 John 呢在这儿讲了cash cow， 那么这指的是摇钱树金牛。我也当时还问了一个，我记得在这个华尔街上呢，这个证券交易所门口那儿有一个牛，那这个 bull， 它但是那个呢叫做 bull market。这bull 和cow 还有 cattle 还有 ox 这几个词呢，它强调特点是不一样的。cow 强调的是奶牛，产奶的，还有吃肉的。那一定是母牛，那这是指 cow。另外呢，还有 Oxford， 比如牛津 ox 公牛。那么还有指 cattle， 指的是牛群的总称，或者是牛类牛群。这是几个词的不同。Okay, let's move to next one. Dog and pony show. Please, John, please tell us. Okay, this one.
This one is used oftentimes when you are talking to investors or business people.
Okay.
Basically, anytime you want to impress maybe your customers, your partners, investors, you put on a dog and pony show, meaning that it's for appearance. It's not for substance. So maybe at the show you don't explain anything in detail. Maybe you don't give a lot of good information, but it's mostly for appearance. You know, maybe it's beautiful sculptures. Maybe it's amazing food.
Okay.
Maybe it's music, but not getting straight to business, right? So you're trying to impress them, but without really giving detail, business detail.
Okay.
So investors hate this. Which is why I used this example. Investors are not interested in a dog and pony show to impress them. They want to hear about your business. They want to know what kind of revenue, what are your liabilities. They don't care about dancing and music, you know, but dog and pony show is for appearance.
Okay, got it. So let me explain here. Dog, pony is a kind of a small horse, right?
Yeah, small horse.
Okay, let me explain that to our audience. 刚才讲了 dog and pony show 这一个习语。那么 dog 指狗 ，pony 指的是小马，看起来好像是狗戏或者马戏，就是马戏团表演或者是狗戏团表演，给人感觉是这样的意思。但实质上它的意思是指，并非指真正的狗戏或者马戏，它比喻那些外表上很炫、场面上非常热闹，却没有多少实质性内容的盛大表演或者演示。商家呢出此招呢，通常虚造声势来吸引人注意，达到宣传和推销产品的目的。那么刚才John 呢在这儿也特别强调，整个过程中可能是他强调比如说包括有些情况下呢，是些投资者很不喜欢这种东西，就外表上很热闹、很炫，但实质上却华而不实。这种东西或者这种表演，我们称作 dog and pony show， 就是华而不实的、外表很炫的，却没有实质内容的盛大表演或者演示，我们称作 dog and pony show. Okay, this okay, let's shift to next one. Is it okay?
So in the next,
So
I'm going to talk about Health.
Okay, health. Okay.
And I selected 3 idioms that are used to describe different types of health or health-related things.
Okay.
So the first one
Yeah.
is, this one's a very funny one.
Cast iron stomach.
Yeah. So everyone has a friend.
Okay.
Can eat anything.
Yeah.
And never get sick. So if you have a friend like this, that no matter what they eat, they never get sick. They never get indigestion. They never get, feeling bad from eating it. We would say they have a cast iron stomach, because in English, cast iron is considered, a strong, heavy metal.
Okay.
Cast iron pan, virtually indestructible. And so we say cast iron stomach. Your stomach is so tough that you can eat anything and not feel sick.
Okay. Here, cast is a verb or noun. Cast is a verb or noun.
This would be a noun.
It's a noun.
Well, cast iron.
Cast iron, 铸铁. Okay, in Chinese.
In this case, cast iron is describing the stomach. So
Okay, cast is a noun. I got it. And ask you, why do people don't say cast gold, copper, silver, or silver stomach?
One of the most interesting things about language is many sayings have no, they're not designed.
Okay.
It's not like an engineer decided how to say it. It came about because of popular use.
Okay.
Somebody, hundreds of years ago, decades ago, said something.
Yeah.
And it became popular. Even if it makes no sense whatsoever.
No sense, no reason. Just forms a habit. People have formed the habit of speaking like this.
Yes. Oftentimes, if you try to figure out the reason, you will make yourself crazy. Because sometimes the answer is someone said it. They just said it. So cast iron stomach, somebody long ago decided that this is a good description of a tough stomach.
Okay. Let me explain that to our audience. Okay. Cast iron stomach. 那么这个俚语呢 ，cast iron 是cast 在这儿是一个名词，那么它指的是 cast iron 指的是铸铁，就铁铸的这样一个胃或铸铁的这样一个胃，表示说吃任何东西都没有问题，吃喝任何东西都没有问题，不会生病。那 cast 它可以指铸造、铸铁，也可以做动词，也可以做名词。那么 iron 刚才我还问为什么没有铸金、铸银，他说这是一个长期形成的这样一个习惯。我们说这个人胃口很好，吃嘛嘛嘛香。这种情况下呢，通常人们就用 cast iron stomach. Okay, let's shift to next one or continue this.
So this one is a great example of something that makes no sense unless you grew up in an English-speaking community. My dogs are barking.
My dogs are barking.
Your dogs are your feet. I don't know why.
Bark means 汪汪汪.
Yeah, bark as in they're angry because they're hurt.
Or the peel of the tree. The peel of the tree also, that is a bark.
Let's say, your wife comes home from work. She's been standing all day. Her feet are hurting. she might say, "Oh, my dogs are barking." Or you can also say, "My feet are killing me." They're not really killing you, but they feel like they're killing you.
That means I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Right?
No, it just means your feet are hurt.
Feet hurt.
They're in pain.
Okay.
Yeah, your feet are in pain.
I guess my dogs are barking. It ranges from a kind of a situation. For example, when you are walking your dog, and you are talking with other people for a long time, and you feel very tired. You stand up for a long time and very tired. Maybe you can talk to the people. Oh, my dogs are barking. Actually, I'm tired. I want to leave. This is an excuse. Do you think so?
It's one of those strange phrases that we can try to make sense of it, but there's no making sense of it. It simply is a way of, again, in English, when we express,
okay,
we come up with really funny words that don't really make sense. But when you hear it and use it, other people know exactly what you mean, even though the sentence doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So if I say, "Oh, my dogs are barking," people don't say, "Oh, where are your dogs?" They say, "Oh, his feet hurt."
Oh.
Yeah. It's a crazy saying, but you will find thousands of these sayings in English where there is no literal meaning.
So here we cannot use other words like cat. My cats are meow 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 meow, or my cows are moo moo.
You could, and what people would think is they would know what you mean, but they would think that being even funnier. My cats are meowing.
Meow.
They would know that I mean my dogs are barking, but that I'm trying to make a joke. Oh, my cows are mooing. So that's a way of saying an idiom in a very joking way.
Okay.
Replacing the words with words of your own. You know, my horses are neighing, my sheep are buying. It's you being funny.
Okay.
But saying the same thing. My feet hurt.
Okay, so that's why when our feet hurt, or sometimes also spoken as my feet are killing me, so we can say my dogs are barking. Okay. Let me explain to our friends about this expression. 这个表达呢 ，My dogs are barking， 听起来好像是我的狗在汪汪汪叫。那么这个习语呢，它表达的是实际上我的脚疼了，我的脚感到比较痛，或者是说 My feet are killing me， 我的脚简直要杀死我。实际上它表示，比如我站得太累了。我刚才猜测了，说是不是你遛狗的时候跟邻居一直站了老半天，感觉到累了，所以狗一直在叫，狗都想走了，所以是实际上表达是我的脚累了，但他说不完全是这样。总之呢，大多数意思这核心还是表达，咱们不做延伸去解释，就是表示我脚疼了，叫做 My dogs are barking. Okay, let's move to next one. On the mend.
Okay, so this is
Okay.
Example.
Okay.
Idiom about health.
Okay.
On the mend.
Okay.
And it's simple. It just means that you're recovering. It could be from a physical illness, like a disease or a broken leg, or it can be from emotional issues, like you got a divorce.
Okay.
And it's simple. You would say, in the example, she broke her leg last month, but now she's on the mend.
Yeah.
You could also say, oh, my friend who got divorced last week
Okay.
is finally on the mend. So it's just a way of saying they are getting better. They're recovering.
Yeah.
Improving. That's it. It's straightforward. And the word mend usually is used in sewing, in sewing fabric.
Yeah.
And when you have a rip in your shirt or your pants,
Yeah.
you mend by sewing the rip. You make it better. So on the mend is just saying you take a difficult situation and it's now improving. It's getting better.
Okay. Why people don't use repair or fix here? Just use mend. Mend. Okay. Can you tell me?
Always the same answer all the time. The answer is someone way back many years ago decided to say on the mend.
Okay.
There's no specific. In many of these sayings, it's just someone decided to use the phrase this way. By the way, there are sayings that do have historical meaning, but many of them are something that someone decided to say a long time ago.
Okay. Let me explain that to our audience. 这个 on the mend 这一个词呢 ，mend 原本表示修理、修缮。那么在这个短语呢，它表示关系正在改善，或者是形势逐渐变好，病人正在康复之中，或者逐渐好起来了。mend 我刚才问为什么 mend 不用 fix 或者 repair 这些词来代替？他说这就是一个长期形成的一个习惯，人们就 on the mend 逐步恢复之中，或者逐步好转之中，它就表这个意思。Okay, let's move to next one. Idioms about intelligence.
About intelligence. Now,
Okay.
each one of these categories, there are many idioms. I only picked 3 for this particular show. So the very first one, you will hear American parents use this idiom all the time. I wasn't born yesterday. And it means do not take me for a fool. Do not think that you are going to lie to me and that I will believe it. And the example is stop making up excuses about your homework.
Okay.
I wasn't born yesterday. My parents would say this to me a lot because I would come home and I would lie and they would know I'm lying. And they would tell me
Coax you.
I wasn't. And notice the tone. I wasn't born yesterday.
At least long ago, I'm older, mature enough. I'm not young or green.
Exactly. I'm not a baby.
Baby.
I have experience. I have expertise. And so you can use this in any situation when you feel someone is not either
honest. If he is cheat you or deceive you.
That's right.
Coax you.
That's right. It's a great expression, and I have heard it many times from my parents.
I was born yesterday. Okay, let me explain in Chinese. 刚才 Joe 呢专门解释了这一个短语的用法。我不是昨天出生的。看起来这个短语呢很简单，咱们中国人也经常说，我可不是3岁小孩了。I'm not a boy at the age of 3 years old. 你可别把我当小孩耍，你再别骗我了，或者我可不是那么好骗的。I was born yesterday 就表达这个意思，我又不是3岁小孩，只不要把我当小孩耍，再别骗我。Okay, next one. To not have a clue.
To not have a clue. Basically, when someone is talking about a subject that they don't really understand, or have you ever had a friend or colleague who interrupts your conversation and they say something that tells you they don't understand what they're talking about? That is someone who doesn't have a clue. And the way that we say it is, let's say we were talking about translation, and I start telling you about translation, which is your expertise, not mine.
Yeah.
You might say, no, you don't have a clue. Because I don't know what I'm talking about. And you can use this in a positive way or a negative way. A negative way would be you're in an argument. Your friend is saying something and they have no idea what they're talking about. So in a negative way, you say, hey, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. You're basically saying to them, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Now, a positive way would be someone asks you for directions. How do you get to Forbidden Palace? And I might say, oh, I don't have a clue. I'm saying, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Okay.
So that's a more positive way to use that idiom.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Here, some audience mentions that thanks a lot for our conversation, and we are training them English, so it's very useful. Some people express the thanks to us.
Great.
Okay, let me explain that in Chinese. Not have a clue. Clue 呢表示的踪迹啊、线索，我一点线索都没有，或者毫无头绪，或者我完全不知道。You don't have a clue. 你啥也不知道，或者你一点头绪都没有。那么这时候呢 ，have a clue 就可以表达这意思。比如说 ，My boss asked me a question, but I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. 我老板呢问了我一个问题，但是我一头雾水，也啥也不清楚。那么这时候就可以用 have a clue. I didn't have a clue. Okay. Let's move to next one. Jump to conclusions, please.
Okay, so let's see. The next one is jump to conclusions.
Okay.
So, many people who don't gather enough information before they make a decision. They don't learn enough before they judge something or someone. We say they are jumping to conclusions or jumping to a conclusion. And it simply means they haven't done their homework. You will see this used in all types of conversation. So, for example, if you're talking about politics,
Okay.
Or you're talking about economics, or even let's say climate change. Someone who did no research will talk about the subject, and you might say, whoa, stop. You haven't read about it, you haven't researched it, and your response to me tells me you are jumping to conclusions. So go do some research and then make an educated decision, or an educated judgment. So this is your way of telling them, you cannot jump to conclusions. You cannot decide something if you have not done your homework first, your research.
Okay, let me explain here. I remember we also use, maybe we can also use another word to express that. Hastily draw a conclusion. When we are writing, hastily draw a conclusion. Conclusion, 那么这指的是结论。Yes， 这个词呢，通常是可数名词 ，jump 就是一下子猛然就跳到某一个结论上了。那么这指的是没有做过研究，也还不分青红皂白，还没有依据，就突然仓促的得出结论或者草率的下结论。那么这是 jump to conclusions。同时，我们有些时候呢又叫做 hastily draw a conclusion， 就是匆忙的得出结论。或者我们有时候说 to make a hasty decision or judgment before knowing the details， 还没搞清楚1、2、3、4、5、6、7呢，还没搞清楚不分青红皂白的情况下呢，就得出结论。那么这叫做 jump to conclusions。So we don't use walk or fly to replace jump.
Jump is more aggressive.
Aggressive.
You go from A all the way to B, too quickly. You go from the beginning to the end, and you jump.
Yeah.
And you skip all the important stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
And so that's why you can also say leap to conclusions.
Yeah.
Jump or leap.
Yeah.
Both work. It's just the same.
Yeah. 先发短信，尚老师先发短信。
So you want to go to the next section?
Yeah. Next section. Here, let's idioms about relationships. Let's move to the first one.
So the first one is a fair weather friend, and it's basically a friend who's only there when times are good.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say the economy is good. You have a good job, you have a good income, you're happy.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they're around all the time, and they want to be your friend. But maybe 2 months from now, the economy is not good. Maybe you lose your job, or you get divorced, or you get sick.
Okay.
And suddenly, this person disappears. They are not, you go, hey, where did my friend go? Well, in English, we say that they're not really a friend, because a friend, a true friend, will be there for you if times are good and if times are bad. And otherwise, we call them fair weather friends. And so you would say, Joe is never here when I'm having trouble, when I need him. He's just a fair weather. That's how we use it.
Okay. I remember there was a English saying that is, A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
患难见真情 Yeah.
Similar meaning, because suddenly they need you, so that they want to be your friend.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it's just our way of differentiating between true friendship and friendship only when times are good.
Okay, that's good. Let me explain that to our friends. Fair weather. Fair 呢指的是好的好天气。fair weather 呢指天气。好天气事儿的朋友，这指的是酒肉朋友，不能共患难的朋友，只可以共享乐的朋友。我们也在英语里头有一个成语，也谚语或者成语呢，叫做 "A friend in need is a friend indeed"， 就是患难才能够见真情。这个好天气下是好朋友，那么天气不好的时候就不成好朋友了。这种情况下，在英文里头呢 ，fair weather friend 就指的是酒肉朋友，不能患难与共的朋友。Okay, let's move to next one. Stormy relationship. Stormy, yeah.
Can relate to this. A stormy relationship is just a poor relationship.
Yeah.
It's one. Think of a storm. What is a storm?
Storm,
Lightning,
yeah.
Thunder, rain.
Heavy rain, yeah.
Yeah. It's unpleasant. You don't like it.
Right.
Stormy relationship is just a relationship where maybe you argue a lot. You disagree a lot. And you would say, for example, oh, my friends, they're married. They are really nice people, but they have a very stormy relationship. You're saying they argue a lot. They don't really have a good relationship. It's mostly unpleasant.
Stormy relationship, like heavy rain, heavy wind, and people not very harmonious between some people. We can describe the relationship, stormy relationship. Okay, let me explain that to our friend. Stormy relationship 呢，storm 指的是打雷下雨的这种天气。那么stormy relationship 就指的这种麻烦的关系或者紧张的关系，动辄就打雷下雨，这就说明关系不好嘛，关系紧张。所以 frequent arguments or disagreements, generally unpleasant， 就这种关系不和谐的或者麻烦的关系非常紧张的这种关系，我们是用 stormy relationship 来形容。Okay, let's move to next one. Think of the world of someone, please.
This is a very positive expression. This you would say about someone that you really care about.
Yeah.
That you really admire, or that someone else cares about or admires. So, for example, if there's a particular, it can be anyone. It can be grandmother,
Yeah.
wife, boss, a CEO of a company, a politician. You know, you could think the world of that person. And you would simply say, I think the world of them. I think the world of Joe. I think the world of you. You can also use it not just to describe how you feel, but how you know someone else feels. So I could say, oh, she thinks the world of her mother. She thinks the world of her son. Same thing. They basically love that person. They admire that person.
Yeah. Okay.
Think about the world is big, right? It's like saying, I think the universe of you.
Okay.
I think a lot. I love you a lot. I care about you a lot because the world is a big place.
Okay. You okay. Here means You are very important and I love you, right? Okay. In Chinese, we sometimes we can say, "Oh, you are for me, you are the whole world," like this.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you can say that in English too.
Yeah.
You are my world.
那么在这一句话 ，think the world of someone， 对我来讲，你就是我整个的世界，就意思说对方很重要。那么这个汉语跟英语的表达是非常相似的，就是think the world of someone。You are my world， 你就是我整个世界，你对我太重要了。这个短语就这样的意思。Strong admiration of someone or a very positive opinion. Love the opposite, or you are very important in my at the bottom of my heart, like this. Okay, let's move to next one. Idioms about time. Okay, the first one.
So, this first one is used mostly in business, but you can use it even in personal. But basically, it means that you're doing something at the very last possible moment. You're finishing just before you need to. If you have a customer who needs the project today, they need it today.
Yeah.
And you finish it today.
Yeah.
And you finished down to the wire.
Yeah.
It also can mean that something might change right up until the last moment. So, for example, a customer tells you, I need you to do this translation. And you work on it. You work very hard. You get it almost finished. Almost. They call you up and say, oh, I need to change something. You would say, oh, they gave me a change down to the wire. Down to the wire, meaning the very last minute, just before I finished. And now they change. So I've got to start maybe all over again. Or maybe I'm late now. I don't finish on time. So down to the wire is anything that happens the last possible time.
Okay. Here, why use wire? Why I remember that means some cable or metal cable or 电线. Why we use it? Okay.
In horse racing, years ago, when they raced horses around a track, they would have, before it went electronic, it was a wire. And the first horse across the finish would catch or trip the wire.
Oh.
And that's how they knew which horse finished first. But in modern times, there's no wire. It's electronic. It's a sensor. So the horse just runs past the sensor. But so that's where it came from. But now we say down to the wire, meaning you're so close to the finish, so close that you're down to the wire.
Okay, here let me explain in Chinese. Here, down to the wire. Wire 指的是金属线、电线、电缆，还有窃听器这意思。这是指的是接近最后，或者到某个事件的事情的最后时期，或者最后一刻，我们称作直到最后，直到终点。Anything that can change at the very last moment， 就知道，哪怕到最后那一刻，也有可能会改变。Also finishing at the last moment， 也会在最后1分钟也有可能是会发生，也有可能结束，也有可能会改变。那么这是最后时刻或者接近终点这个意思。OK, next one. Lose track of time, please.
You can either say it lose track, or you can change the first word and use lost.
Lost, okay. Lost or lose.
Yeah, so past tense or present. But basically, think of this. Imagine you're working late at the office. Very important project. You have not been looking at the clock. Your wife calls or your husband calls and says, "Hey, I have dinner ready. Where are you?" And you say, "Oh, I lost track of time." Meaning, I wasn't paying attention to the clock. I was doing something.
Very concentrated.
So
Concentrate on something. Okay.
that I didn't care about the clock. And so you can say, in the example, I say, when I'm doing something that I enjoy, I lose track of time.
Okay.
Time passes so fast,
Okay.
and I don't pay attention to it.
Actually, it emphasizes, I love it very much, or entirely focus on something, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It usually so focused that you haven't even looked at your watch or the clock.
Okay, I got it. 那么lose track of time 这个短语呢也 lose 呢也可以有时候用 lost，它指的是忘了时间，把时间都忘了。我对此呢如此的乐不思蜀啊，或者如此的专注啊，以至于我把时间完全忘了。所以叫 lose track of time 或者 lost track of time。它很多时候呢强调的就是很专注，完全就没管这个时间，不知不觉就过去了。这时候呢用例如whenever I'm doing something, as long as I enjoy it, I lose track of it. The day passes so quickly. Here, lose track of time 就强调的是忘了时间，忘了钟表。Okay, let's move to the next one. Pressed for time. Yeah.
Pressed for time is the expression that you use when you are in a hurry. Someone wants maybe you to do something, but you don't have the time to help. And maybe for example, your colleague says, "Hey, would you like to come out after work? And we can go have a drink." You might say, "I can't. I'm trying to finish my project. I'm pressed for time," meaning I'm in a hurry. I barely have time to finish. So it's another way of saying I'm so busy.
Okay, I'm as busy as a bee.
Yeah, busy as a bee.
Okay, let me explain. Pressed for time，这个呢就是时间特别紧张，我正在赶时间，或者是时间已经紧逼了，是表达这意思。就是我这很忙，或者我们英语里头还有一个短语呢，叫做 as busy as a bee， 像小蜜蜂一样忙碌，就是哎呀，这儿忙的脚打后脑勺呢，实在太忙了，就 pressed for time. We are pressed for time just because we have a very huge project. 例如这种情况下呢，我们就可以用时间紧迫来表达时间紧迫 pressed for time. Okay, idioms about manners. Let's see the first one.
So, watch your language. Usually, this is a warning that you give to someone before let's say you're going to a party, you're going to a very special event, or you're going to visit relatives or strangers, and you turn to your children or your friends, and you might say, can you please watch your language? You're telling them, be careful about the words that you choose, because you might upset the person, or you might offend the person. Imagine that you're invited to visit the president, and you turn to your children and you say, when we go visit the president, watch your language. Because it can be used politely, as in, please watch your language. We have children here. We don't use adult language. Watch your language. Or it can be used very forcefully, like, watch your language. I don't want you acting up. I don't want you talking that way. So watch your language, which, by the way, parents in America love to say to their children.
Okay. I got it. Let me explain that to ask you a question. What's your language? Usually, sometimes it means politely warn somebody or remind somebody of behavior or doing something correctly. Is any bad meaning, or, for example, here, what's your language? Or scold somebody, or not scold, just remind?
No, it can be both scolding and as a reminder. So, as a
possible.
reminder,
Both are possible.
Would be, usually you would say, please watch your language. If it was scolding, you would be, for example, let's say your children say something in front of your parents, and you're not happy that they said that. You might turn to them and say, watch your language.
Okay.
So it can be used to scold.
Okay. Watch your language. 这个短语呢，它字面的意思呢，注意你的语言，注意你的话语。这儿呢，既有些时候呢代表着一种责备的口吻，有时候呢是提醒的口吻，有时候呢善意的提醒。那么就是说，有可能是咱们要见到大人物了，或者说你说话做事呢一定要特别小心，或者要 prudent。You must be prudent enough to watch your language. 要足够的注意、小心、谨慎，这样才不犯错。或者说，也有些时候呢有一种责备的含义在里头。那这是 watch your language. Here, you also mentioned similar to mind your P's and Q's. What's P's and Q's?
So, nobody knows the real origin of P's and Q's. Many historians have tried to figure out why P's and Q's. They don't know. They have come up with guesses, but all it means, same situation, except your behavior as well as your language. So, watch your language is all about the language. Mind your P's and Q's is about your language and your behavior.
Okay.
So, you would say to maybe to your children, mind your P's and Q's.
Okay.
Behave and don't say things that are offensive or upset people.
Okay. Here, P's and Q's, the capital P and the capital Q, the two words very similar. So sometimes people may mix together or diffused or make some mistakes. That's why people say, mind your P's and Q's. You must be careful, prudent, and to deal with something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, got it. 所以说注意语言呢，这儿有些时候也用另外一个短语呢，用这个 mind your P's and Q's。P 和 Q 呢打起来呢，它非常相似，所以有些时候你容易弄混淆或者弄错。 那么所以也都表示的跟 watch your language 同样的意思呢，表示就是你要仔细点、小心点、谨慎点、谨慎你的用语用词，有这样的意思。有时候注意你的行为，它 watch your language。OK， let's move to next one. Time-honored practice, please.
Yes. Time-honored practice. Think of any tradition in Chinese culture that has been done for years, many years. That is a time-honored practice. And in my example, I talk about shaking hands. In the West, when you meet someone, it's very common to shake hands. The reason is interesting.
Yeah.
In the old West of America and in Europe as well, to put your hand forward to shake was your way of saying, I have no weapon in my hand. I have just my hand. And so they didn't have to be worried that you had a gun or a knife. You were extending your hand out of friendship. So an empty hand with nothing in it,
right,
is the origin of shaking hands. And so that in the West is a time-honored practice. And you would just say, shaking hands in the West is a time-honored practice. That's how, it's a very simple phrase to use.
Okay, let me explain in Chinese to our audience. A widely respected for traditional way of doing something, time-honored practice， 这就是说一种历久弥新，这指的是历久弥新，比如说被广泛所尊重的一种传统的做法。那么这种 when you meet with some Western clients, shaking hands is a common behavior, time-honored practice. That is 历久弥新的做法，经得起时间考验的一种做法，被广泛在传统上呢被广泛所尊重的一种做法，我们就称作time-honored practice， 经历了时间还依然被大家尊重的这种做法。Okay, next one, overstepped the mark, please.
Okay, so this is simple. This means if you go beyond what is considered acceptable, what is considered, good language, good behavior. Basically, if you're being disrespectful, then you are overstepping the mark. So there are many examples. If you're in a meeting at work and your boss is speaking and you interrupt, you decide to interrupt while he's talking, you just overstepped the mark. You were disrespectful. It was unacceptable. This is not good behavior. This is, same thing with language. If you're in a room with people who are very polite and you begin speaking in a very impolite, disrespectful way, you are overstepping the mark. So I would say, he overstepped the mark. That's unacceptable. I cannot believe he spoke to her that way, or that he behaved that way. He really overstepped the mark.
Okay.
It's very,
Sounds like when we are playing football on the playground, sometimes we can say overstepped the mark, right?
Yeah. He went outside the bounds.
But actually, it can be used in many places very vividly. Overstepped the mark. Let me explain in Chinese. Step 呢指的是步伐名词，也 noun 也可以作为一个动词 verb。那么 overstepped 就是走过或者是越界 ，mark 指的是界限边界某个那么 overstepped the mark， 有可能是 to upset someone， 有可能你会让别人感到生气或者局促不安。Usually with unacceptable language or behavior， 通常指的是带着某种让人不可以接受的这种语言或者行为，就是你越界了。比如说你不尊重你的老板，你的冒犯了他的权威，你这时候呢就可能是权力上的这种越界 ，overstepped the mark， 或者是在日常生活中也有可能你的超出了你的职责范围，你也可以称作越界了。OK，let's move to next one. Oh, this is the last one. Almost 1.5 an hour. Can you summarize today's idioms, explanation, and definitions?
Well, so what I would say, first, you will not hear these all the time, right? Idioms are part of everyday conversation, and you can use them. We use them. You know, I use idioms throughout the day.
Yeah.
Many. It's habit, because when you know the language well enough, that's what you do. It's a shorter, easier way to say something that would normally be much more complicated to explain. And the important part here is to know when it's appropriate to use them, and to know how to use the tone of your voice to express them.
Okay.
For example, I'm not going to say, remember earlier when, let's see, one sec here, when we said, one moment. We had said, I wasn't born yesterday. Think of how ineffective it would be, totally ineffective, if my parents said, I wasn't born yesterday. That has no emotion. That doesn't really convey how upset they are. So instead, you would say, I wasn't born yesterday. Are you kidding? I wasn't born yesterday. So you have to learn to use your voice to express what it is that you're saying. Don't simply say it. Anybody can say it. But you need to learn how to express it, just like you do in your native language. When you're saying Chinese idioms and you're expressing it in Chinese. Now you just need to learn to do the same thing in the English language. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do with these videos, is help you to understand not only what these things mean, but how to use them, how to say them, and how to understand when someone says it to you.
Okay, here some audience give us questions, ask us to reply. For example, he said it's very hard to learn learn idioms in English. It's totally different from Chinese. For example, in Chinese, dragon usually in Chinese that is something good and beneficial to us, or provide, or it's a prudent for something good. But in Americans, sounds like something bad. And for dog, people in Chinese, dog usually 狗眼看人低. That means to look down on some people. Dog is not good enough. But in English, it means every dog has his day. Dog in many situations, that means good animal. So how, and sometimes also cats and dogs all bring down, refers heavy rain. It's very hard to learn the idioms can you explain these phrases and tell us more tips, more experience how to learn this behavior or the languages?
No matter which language you speak, if you're learning English, you have to go through the same process that I went through growing up. Right? It takes time.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, I didn't know these idioms. I had to hear them. And then I had to understand. So someone, my parents, teachers, friends, had to explain. Oh, Joe, that means this. It takes time.
Okay. Take it easy. Step by step.
There's no shortcut.
No shortcut.
It's practice, listen, speak, and over time, your knowledge of idioms will grow and grow. And just like me, it took me 50 years to know all of these idioms. But you don't worry. The kinds of videos that we're trying to do here will help you begin to understand some of these idioms. You won't learn them all. There are thousands. But we'll show you some of the most common ones that you are likely to hear when you're talking to Westerners. And also, you can use them when you're talking to your Chinese friends, and they won't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So you can teach them so that they know too, which is very cool.
Okay, it really takes time, so we must be patient. And
everybody. Think about how long it took you to get good in Chinese language.
Yeah.
It took years, right?
Yeah.
The first 18, 20 years of your life.
Yeah. Roma is not made within one day.
Yes. And so to think that, I'm going to go to English class for 10 classes and I'll be fluent. No, doesn't work that way. Time, practice, listen, speak. That's it. There's no magic.
Okay, great, very useful. So we must be patient and practice our language, our spoken English, and learn grammar, and gradually we will become better and better in speaking English.
Yes, and what I would ask is if the audience can give us ideas about what they would like to hear us talk about. If they would like to hear more idioms, if they would like to hear about culture or other topics, then they should tell us, and the two of us can create videos so that we can help them understand those topics that they're interested in.
Okay, great. So today now it's 3 p.m. So it's time for us to say goodbye to all of our audience. So tomorrow, for you, 3 a.m. in United States. Let's give thanks to our teacher, John. It's deep night in the United States. He is delivering class to us. And tomorrow about 10 a.m. we will give another class. Okay, thank you, John. Thank you so much. Let's finish today's class. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.